guys, today's March 30th, it's Wednesday, and I've had a few questions about the page I created last month for my Mixed Media Morsels Inchie page, and I just decided that I would show how I created my Inchies since there was an interest, and this is the page that I created. And some of you had asked about how I created my Inchies, and the reason I didn't show exactly how I did my Inchies was because there were so many videos out about the morsels that I just thought, well, you know, there's no point in me putting out another full video about that. But since some of you had asked, I told you I would create a video showing how I made mine, and I'm happy to do it. So this is the created page that I did, or the finished page that I did for the Inchies, and I'll give you a little bit of a close-up. It's the shape of an L, and I just put some Inchies on the side for fun. And then I had some leftover ones. They're in this little container here. And some are finished, some are not. So I'm going to start from scratch and show you how I started my Inchies and the different things that I used, and show you how I made them, okay? Okay. The main thing that I used to create my Inchies on was index cards. And this is the 4x6. There are smaller ones. I'm using the larger, well, not the largest one, but the middle size one, the 4x6 one. And I already had, and I'm going to show you, I have a stack here. This is a small portion of them, of index cards where as I'm creating something and I get to the end of the project or during the project, when I have leftover paint on my paintbrush, I just wipe it on here. Or if I have extra stencil paint set out and a stencil out, I stencil it on the card. Anything that's left over, I just put on with my finger. It just depends. And there's a lot here of different colors and just starter cards. And this one's got some texture because I used black paint and I glopped it on, so it has a lot of lumpiness to it. These are pretty full and ready to be used. This one's just kind of getting started, and so is that one. That one's in between. So you can see, and this one's kind of ready to go, but I'm going to do a little more to it. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. And these are all on index cards. So I took some of these that were already finished, and they look like this. Let me show you real quick right here. These are the partials that I have left over from ones that I used. Okay. These are the ones I used that I actually used to create some of my Inchies. And you can see they are, in fact, index cards. And I just cut them to the size I needed. The other thing that I used was regular cardstock, regular paper from a pad or leftover pad that I had. And so this is regular. It's more heavy. It's not the real flimsy paper like some of the paper you get is like this, real soft. This is more of a cardstock, but not as heavy as a cardstock. It's kind of in between. I don't know what weight it is. There's no way for me to tell. But I used these, and so you can see the back has nothing on them. So I used some of this, and all I did was cut them down to the size I needed. First, the way I did it was I cut strips, 1-inch strips. And you can decorate your card first, or you can cut your strips and decorate, or you can cut all your Inchies and decorate. I cut strips and decorated, and this is what I wound up with. These are the strips, and these have stamps on them and paint on them and markings. And so these are in the next stage. They're not finished. Okay, so that's how I did mine. So I'm going to start a fresh one and show you what I do. Now the other thing you can do is you can take drop paper that's left over off your table, and you can cover a card, or you can use the drop paper. It'll just be a real flimsy Inchie, and you may not want them really flimsy. So I would definitely put this on top of a piece of cardstock that maybe you don't want, or maybe use the back, like the white space, glue it on there, and that way when you turn it over you've got this. I have a lot of drop papers here. Well, not a lot, a few. Most of mine are in a bin. And then there's some jelly plate prints that I could use. I could just glue them, and I would take a fresh card and I could just glue on the card. Okay, and then I could cut my strips. Or, like I said, take a regular cardstock and glue it to the white spot, and then when you cut it out, you turn it over, there's your background. I don't worry so much about a background personally, but that's just me because I usually glue mine down or write something on the back. So there's jelly printed paper. There's also book pages that you can use by doing the same method. These are just scrap papers that I put extra paint on. And so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few of the cards that I've already got started. Put these off to the side here. I'm going to save some time. I'm not going to create a card from scratch. I'm just going to take one I've already gotten started here. And let's see, which one do I like? I like these, but I kind of want to save those for something else. I like that. I'd have to add to it though. This one's ready to go. This one's kind of cool, but maybe I'll just use that one. And I also have these leftover pieces, which I probably will use one because I really liked this one here. I really like this one. So I'll use that one too. Okay, so the next step that I did, first, you find your decorated paper. Okay, the next step that I did was and now you can do this two ways. You can take this card right here and you can decorate it and stamp it and design it and do everything you want to do with flat stuff. Don't use anything dimensional because you've got to cut. And then slice your strips. I chose to slice my strips first. That way I had more of an idea of how things would fit. So all I did was take a cutter, and this is just one of those little Cricut cutters, and I found the 1-inch mark, which is right here, and butted my paper up against it. And this is an old blade and an old cutter, and it kind of shreds the edge of the paper. I've had it forever, but I'm, not picky about it, so at least not on these. So I go to the 1-inch mark there, make sure it's flush. And now you have to kind of hold this because there's so little paper in here, it'll slide because the blade's really rough. So I kind of hold it really good, and then I just slice through. Okay, so I have my 1-inch strip, and then I'll do another one. So I really wanted the inside of this. Okay, and I'm going to cut 1 inch of this too, because I really like this. Okay, now we got those. So then you can edge these with distress markers or ink pad or whatever you want to do. I don't really worry about it because you're going to go around it with black marker anyway. So now I have 3 1-inch long strips, and the length is going to be however long the paper you choose is. These index cards happen to be 4.5 by 5. I think they're 5. So it's a 1-inch by 5-inch now, or 6, 4.5 by 6. Either way, you get the drift. However long your paper is how long these are going to be. And the next step was to take stamps and markers and to fill in my papers. So I'm going to get that stuff here ready to go, and we're going to do that step next. Okay, the next thing I want to do is put some stamps on here, and I used the Recollections set. It's a 27-piece set, and it's got all different kinds of words and shapes and images in there. And there's also the alphabet set, which is small enough to use if you want to. I'm not going to use the alphabet set today. I pulled out 3 images that I'm going to use today. And these are not very expensive, and if you use a coupon, you can get them fairly reasonable. And Recollection sometimes goes on sale for even more than 50% off, so keep a lookout for that. And then I've also got my box of stamps that I use all the time, and these are my favorite distress stamps. They're no longer available in stores, or I think they're discontinued, so I hope these last me forever. But I'll probably use a couple of these out of here. And you want to use a permanent ink, because when you're finishing these off or playing with them or marking them or whatever, if you don't use a permanent ink, it could smear. So I've got my StazOn. I've got the brown, timber brown, and the black, jet black. And I'm just going to use black, I think. This one I might use brown, I don't know. But right now, I just got the black out. And I'm just going to take my stamps, and there's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't matter where I cut. It could cut off part of a stamp. It might not. Doesn't matter to me. I just want the shapes on there. So I'm just going to stamp, and I'm going to put this part in fast forward because all I'm doing is stamping. Okay, I have my images stamped on, and I don't know if you could tell or not based on how close I am, but I went different directions, and I also went off of the paper so that if I cut an inch size that happened to fall somewhere weird, you have different angles of your image, okay? Flowers, whatever you're using, they're just different. I'll hold them up. Different shape, different directions. Okay, now if you wanted to, this is where you could bring in your distress stamps, and you could go in and add little stamps to it, little impressions, but I think I'm going to pass on that part, at least for now, because I think I have enough on there that it's not going to matter. After I've cut my Inchies into the size I want, if I see that it matters, I will add something. Now, one of the things I did do in the next step was a few of them I wanted to color in. So I took these Crayola markers. They're just in the children's section. They're the 10 classic colors. I don't think they're permanent, but they worked well for what I was using them for, so I didn't have a problem. But I colored in some of my images, and for example, I could take my leaves and I could color them in a green. I don't really want to color them green, so I'm probably not going to, but I'll do one. And I probably won't use it. I'll do one down here. And you just color in your image. And I didn't do this a lot with all of them, or many of them, because I didn't need to. Because I'm using such colorful backgrounds, there really didn't need to be a lot of coloring. But a few of them I did. And I'm just going over the black. Probably would be easier or better if I didn't, but I'm not worrying about it because I'm not going to use it anyway. But that is an option. You can color in your stamps. So now you have one that's colored in, but we're not going to use that. Okay, so now the next step. This next step is kind of up to you, and this is how I do it. I'll tell you how I do it, and I'll tell you two ways. One way is I have some little ephemera pieces, little butterflies. These are just things that are sitting on my desk from other projects that I didn't use. Some numbers from a calendar, little flower leaf pieces, and a piece of scrap paper, a little skull head. I don't know why I have that. A word, a little tea tag, because I drink tea. And you could put some on here sporadically wherever you want them. For me, I decided to do it option 2. Option 2 is to go ahead and cut your inches, and then you'll have your inch in front of you, and then you can place these more definite where you want them. And that's the way I chose. But if you don't care, if it's one of those things where it's a butterfly or something that you don't care where the pieces fall, you could do it now, or you could do it on your full-size card that you've got. You know, like if you started off with a full card, you could place these on here in different places, like this. Glue them down, let it dry, and then cut your slices, and then you might get pieces of a butterfly like that in your Inchie. You just don't know. So that's why I've kind of chosen to place them after I've cut them. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my Inchies, my strips, into the inch segments. So I'm going to do that in fast forward so that we can rush through that. Okay, I went off camera to do most of that. It was just tedious, so no sense putting you through that. All right, now I have my little inch pieces, and aren't they just cute? The way they come out after you've cut them. Where's some here? You just never know what you're gonna get, and they're just adorable this way. And now honestly, Inchies is not my favorite thing to do. I prefer 2 inches or 3 inches. I'll show you close up there. Because they're a little bit bigger and easier to work with, and I don't use Inchies a whole lot. But I wanted to stay true to what I had made on the page, so that's why I'm doing it in Inchies. Anyway, these are the ones that were cut into inch pieces. Now, depending on the length of the strip that you use when you first start, like say for example, if you use an index card and you cut your 1 inch strip, it's this long. If you use a longer piece, it's going to be that long. It just depends on the length of what you use. So as you cut your inches, when you get to the very end, your last pieces may not be an exact inch. These probably aren't either, based on how I cut. But these are the end pieces that were not quite an inch. They're just a little bit smaller. So I set those to the side because I can use them for something else, and I can even still make Inchies out of them if I want to. It's just they're not a true inch, and so I'm not going to mess with them right now. I'm going to stick with these because if you can tell, there's a little bit lacking there, you can see. So I won't mess with these right now. I'll set those to the side. And I could even use an image off here if I wanted to on my other Inchies, but I'm not going to this time. I think I'll just, just let those go. Okay, the next thing that I do is I decide what I want on my Inchies. Now I'm going to set these in order of design so that I can get an idea here. Okay, what I want to do. I love this one. This is my favorite, the one in the center. So, I've told you about the ephemera pieces that you can use, or you can skip that part altogether and you can do your borders. And you can skip over to flowers or stickers or whatever you want to use. Depends on what you want. I also have a jar, and I did this on one of these, and I'll show it to you close up. I used a frog sticker on one of my last Inchies. It's this one where my thumb is right there. And at the bottom it says Kisses. And it's one of these chocolate Kisses wrappers that comes out of the chocolates that you buy and eat called Kisses. Hershey's Chocolate Kisses. So I don't think I'll be using one of those today because I didn't use a frog. But that is another option. Little things like that can be used. It's just whatever your imagination can think of, you can use it. All right. I better keep this handy in case I need to refer to it. I'll put it over here. You can stencil on here if you don't want to stamp. You can stencil your card before you even start, like this one here. You could take a stencil and lay it down and just go all over it. There's so many different options. It's really up to you and what you like. I'm going to look at these and I'm going to decide if I want anything on there based on what I have here. And these are kind of bright. I would have to color them, and I really don't want to spend the time coloring. So I might just not use them. We'll see. Little skull head's kind of cute. We'll use him for something else. The tag is actually almost the right size for an Inchie, but it's a little bit big. But you can cut it down. You can cut it and make it an Inchie if you want to. So I won't be using that. I'm not going to use any words. So I may not use any, I'll probably use some of these numbers. I like to use numbers in my art. So I may do that. And here's the word hour. I could put hour on it somewhere. And then I could use one of these that I use for Valentine's Day, these little stickers. Hour, there's not one called love on here. My love, cutie pie, kiss me, my love, our love, I don't know. And let's see. I have stickers I'm going to save for last because they're not going to go on until after I've done my border. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find a few things to put on here that I want to use. Instead of making you sit through the process of me looking through some of this stuff that I've got, and then I'll come back and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, I wanted to show you a couple things that I'm going to do because I'm going to do this part in fast forward also, because all I'm going to be doing is gluing and adding and, you know, that kind of thing. So I pulled out a few odd and end pieces that I think that I want to use on my Inchies. And I'm going to describe what they are so that when you see me do it, you'll know what I'm doing. I took, I have very minimal supplies as far as punches and things like that available to me because everything's in a box packed away. But I happen to have these two sitting over off to the side. And so I grabbed these two and I took, and Bailey's snoring for us. I don't know if you can hear her, but if you've been with me, you know what that means. Anyway, this one here is a smaller punch. It's like 3/4 maybe. I'm not sure. I don't have a paper in front of me. But I cut out from that little calendar. And this is one of those little calendars you get in the mail that is a magnet that people send you from pizza places, from realtors, and all kinds of places like that. And they want you to put their magnet on your refrigerator so that you'll remember them. Well, I don't do that. I don't save them usually, but I happen to keep a couple of these because I just like numbers. And so I have these numbers to work with. So I just cut a punch of the numbers out. So that's what that is. And I also have a strip of numbers left over from the other round of Inchies that I did that I'm going to use. And this is a word hour sitting right here. I won't hold it up. I'm just going to put it on there just for the fun of it. This is a piece of a magazine or a flyer that comes in the mail that's like medical or something to people that used to live here before us because we're just renting this house. And I took this punch, it's an oval punch with a little scalloped edge, and I just cut a partial kind of corner like this. I just went in sideways and just punched a little bit right there, like half, just to get a little bit of it. So that's what this is. These two little pieces were in my scrap bin that I've got over here. It's tissue paper for pattern, and it's also the partial piece of a napkin left over, so I'll probably incorporate that somehow. And I have these stickers here that I got. They're Martha Stewart stickers. This is what they look like. You get two sides. This side's already been used. This is the last of this side. So you get quite a few stickers. And I'm just going to use a partial one like I did. This is the partial one I used on one of the other Inchies, and I can show you that right here. This one right here is that. And what else? I pulled out some little scrap pieces of fabric and trim that I have in my fabric box because I love fabrics and trims and stuff, and I have a lot of leftover stuff like that. And I may use a piece of this, I may not, I don't know. Haven't decided yet. That's why I'm going to do this in fast forward, because I'm going to kind of have to decide as I go. And I think I've told you everything I'm going to use. I might still use one of these kisses things. I'm not sure. The other one says almonds, I think, on it. I like almonds, so maybe almonds would look better on here. Or I think the kisses is just really cute. It was really cute with the frog. It really worked well with the frog. I don't know. We'll set that out just to have as an option. And what else? Oh, here's another option for you. I'm not going to do this today, but these are some stickers that I got on clearance a while back at Hobby Lobby, I think. and they're by Paper Studio. They're called Stickabilities, and they look like this. There's different shapes. They say they're stickers. They don't feel like stickers. Well, no, they're just called Stickabilities, but they're not stickers. These are just paper borders. I don't know why they're called Stickabilities then, unless because you can stick them, I don't know. Anyway, I took these and I just decorated the whole piece, and I just made little strips that I liked. I just cut them, and I don't have them. I don't know where they are. They're somewhere. I sent some away, but they're stuck off to the side. But anyway, after you paint these and decorate them how you want, you could use a piece of the border here on one of these if you wanted to. So that's another option. Anything you have can be used. So it's really up to your imagination. Whatever you can think of, you can use. Okay, so now I'm going to go and fast forward, and I'm going to start applying the things that I've showed you to the Inchies that I have in front of me. Okay? And if you have any stickers you want to use that are dimensional, like these I used on my last Inchies, and I'll show you those after this next step. I would save those for last because you don't want dimension on here yet, because you still have to do a border. And that goes with the fabric too. If I'm going to use fabric, I'm going to be careful where I put it, because I have to go over it and make a border, and I don't know how I'll work that out, because I don't think I used fabric on the other ones. I did use a bow on this one. I put a ribbon. Made a bow out of it, but I already had my border on. So that's what we're doing. We're sticking this stuff on, okay? And I'll be back with you. Thing I wanted to tell you, because I was talking about these and I didn't have an example near to show you, I actually did use these on my last Inchies. So I'm going to show you what I did. This design here, the little holes punch out so it becomes like that. And I just cut one little piece off right here where the indentation is. I just cut it straight across, and I put it on this Inchie right here. So if you can see, there's the Inchie, and then on top of it is another decorated piece of paper. So all you see of the created Inchie, the original Inchie, is just a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. Not even the whole Inchie. So some of this just almost gets completely covered, and that's perfectly fine. It made an interesting little Inchie. It's cute. So I wanted to share that with you real quick. Okay, now we're going to put these on there, the stuff. Okay, I've got everything on that I want to use, and what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it off camera, is I'm going to go back and I'm going to trim off the excess that we don't need on the Inchie, and I'm going to go ahead and put a sealer over the whole Inchie instead of just partial places where I added something. I'm just going to go ahead and put a sealer over the whole thing. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I will come back. Okay, they've all been sort of dried, and trimmed and ready to go. Some of them I did not do anything to. I left them in their natural state after the stamping. I didn't add any kind of fabric, or, that one's not dry, or tissue paper or napkin or words or anything like that. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to bring my Sharpie poster paint pen. Oh, the sealer, by the way, I meant to tell you, the sealer that I used is just, this is a Deco Page. And you can use Mod Podge or anything like that. Any sealer you want. It's not important. Doesn't really matter. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to bring in my Sharpie poster paint pen. This is not the right one. It's broken. And I'm just going to bring in and put some dots and maybe outline a few things. And then I'm going to go around the edge with my black Posca pen and maybe put some dots or something on it. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do that in fast forward also. And then I'll come back and tell you what the next step is. Okay, I have all of the black borders on and all the little white dots on, and it's a little time consuming, especially with these being so tiny, and I just went ahead and went off camera and finished it. But they look really cute, all close up together in a little pile. So that's what we've got. Now, the next step is to figure out which way the camera goes, because I'm never right. Never, ever, ever right. Okay. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to decide if I want to go any further with any of these. And what I will do next is I'll put anything that's dimensional on them. Like in around February, when I did the last ones, I used these little Valentine stickers. Now, I don't think I'm going to use any of those today because it's not Valentine anymore, and I don't know. You could, I guess. It wouldn't matter, really. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll use one. I don't know. I'll keep them out just in case. I've also got these little ladybugs that I used, which I really like. They're really cute, and I might use one of those. And the other thing I have out is little tiny, tiny flowers. And there's a couple different sizes in here, and little brads in case I want to use a brad in the middle. Some of these require because they have a hole, some don't. And then I have these. I did not use these in any of the last ones I've created. They're bigger, so they would take up more space on your Inchie. If you want that kind of look, then go for it. I just thought I'd pull them out and show you what one might look like. It's a little bigger. Let's pull this yellow one out. Let's say this one here, I didn't do anything too major. I could stick this right here on the edge, like that. And then you'd have that little Inchie there. And I may do that. May keep that out and just do that. And this one I think is a little too foofy, too fluffy. to use, it would cover way, 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 way lots. But let's see. Well, you could still get away with it. You could cover a lot of what you have on here. You could get away with it, but I don't think I will. I don't think I'll use this. I'll probably use the little ones. So that's what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to make decisions about that as I go. This one's kind of cute because it looks like the little leaves coming up, and then this one looked like the little flower right at the tip. Like that. So I may do that. Or I could take a small one with a little brad in it and do that. Maybe this color. Oops. It's hard to grab them. I need my little tweezers. So I'm going to decide what I'm going to use, and then I'm going to come on and do it and fast forward for you so you see how they look. One more thing I wanted to share with you, and this is something that is up to you to kind of decide if you like or not. This one here, I put a little tiny heart piece of fabric. I cut a little heart from a piece of eyelet, and I put it in the corner, and I'll show it to you this way. That way you can see it better. And it's ironic this happened. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't notice it when I was doing it, but if you look in the corner right here, that little sticker that I put on looks kind of like a heart. So I could come in with a red marker or paint or something, and I could make it colorful so you could see the heart shape. It'll just add a little color. This is not a very good way to do it. This marker didn't do a very good job, but there are paints that would. I'm just letting you know that if you see little images, you can color them in. I'm probably going to cover that up. As a matter of fact, I'll just wipe it off and go back to my business here. I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, I left one here that has not got anything on it. You can leave them completely blank if you want to. This is cute just the way it is. These are over here drying. I'm going to show you in a little bit those. But what I wanted to do was also show you that you could take paint or markers or whatever you wanted to, and you could just draw a little face, or you could draw a flower, or you could just draw some of your squiggle lines or whatever you like to do, and it would make it more interesting. So I think what I'm going to do is just do some of my squiggle lines that I like to do and paint them in. So let me do that. This is a Stabilo Marks All pencil, and I like to start with those usually for some reason. And then my blue that I love so much is Spa Blue, and I'm looking for my little tiny, there's good enough. I'm just going to paint in the little squiggles. didn't want to go into the border, but I did because I forgot. I remembered it first and then I forgot. I lost my pencil lines, so I'm going to have to go in with a pen and remake them, which is okay. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could go in and make a little flower, just a little cutesy flower, and a little stem with some leaves. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I finished that little piece. It's just a little tiny addition to the Inchie. I started to say the iPad, I don't know why. Just a little added something to the Inchie, just to make it a little cuter. If you need to go back and freshen up your black line, your border, and your white dots, then you can do that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to show you these close up. And let's see, do I need a white background? I think it's helpful or not. Okay. This is the one that I just painted on, just a little cutesy flower. And the background is so busy you can't really see the stem and the leaves because it blends in so much, and that's perfectly fine. It just looks like it's in a little field. And just a little blue for interest up there, just cutesy. That's all it is. So there's that one. And these all aren't going to fit on here. This one, it's the one that said hour. Oop. The camera doesn't like the white paper. This one says hour, and it is left alone because I didn't really want to add anything to it. I didn't see any point. Just a word, hour. It just has a little cute look to it. Okay, and the camera's going to do wonky for a little bit while this white's up here. This one I just added a little bit of trim across at a diagonal. I could trim it off if I wanted to, but it depends on what I use it for. So right now I'm not going to. I probably will leave it, and if I do something that needs to be trimmed, I'll cut it off. But it just leaves a little texture to it. Has a cute look to it. This one here is the one that had the fabric heart out of Eyelet. I just took one of those Valentine hearts and glued it on top of the white. It's a little pop of color, that's all it is. And it blends really well with the background color. I think it's really cute. And this one is the one that I use the punch, the little, let me need a pointer. I always need a pointer. The little leaf shapes. And I just took some flowers and put a little of the little brad in between or on them, and put it above one of these to make it look like it was growing from there. I could have put another one, but I didn't want to add too much to this. I thought it was cute the way it was. And this one, I just took a flower with it was a contrast color. It doesn't have any of this color on there. And this is the one that had the punched square of the calendar dates. And if you look real close, you can still see two of the dates down here peeking through, and I wanted it to peek through. I didn't want it to show. So now you got a little interest back there that makes you say, what was that? I really wanted the number 9 up here, but that meant I would have had to push this off to the side, and I didn't want to do that on this one. So we're not seeing the number 9, which is what I wanted. And I can go back, and I probably will go back and take my distress ink pad and distress these a little bit, add a little coloring to the tops, like this one here especially, that needs a little highlighting. This one is one that I put a little piece of that fabric, and I left the little strands and the ravels and stuff on there, and I just added a ladybug. This one, I had a bead out one day that I was working on to make these little charms and stuff that I made from clay and beads, and one of them broke, and I don't know where the other half went. I think it's up here on my desk somewhere, but I left it thinking I'll use it one day. So that's all it is a bead that broke in half, and I just glued it on the edge. Just kind of interesting. Now, maybe these don't look right all together, but it may look good with the project that you do. I don't know. It just depends on what you're doing. I think they look cute together. This one, Hold on. This one is just a paper clip, and I just clipped it on there. And you can remove it if you want to, but you can glue it down this way if you want to also. This one is the burlap that I stuck on there, and I just put another flower to bring in some color, and you can still see some of the colors peeking through. And this one is the other one that I used with the dates on it, and I haven't gone, I'm probably going to draw around it with black marker or something, or maybe I'll leave it, I don't know, I haven't decided. I just added a heart sideways by the 14 to represent the 14th. This one is the one I used the white sticker. And I have a little bag of just odd and end things that was sent to me a long time ago on a prize I won. And I pulled this little charm, or I don't know what you even call it. It's not a charm. Embellishment out and stuck it on there. This one, I took one of those flowers out of that little bag I just showed you, and I stuck it on that one that I used the piece of napkin. I turned it upside down so the writing is upside down, and it looks like a little stem kind of poking through there, like it's a flower growing. Oop, there. This one is the dimensional flower that I added on, that I told you could add more dimension if you wanted to. And just plopped it on there. And this one, I took one of those, it's a clear embellishment. I don't know what they're really called because I don't have the set, I don't think. This was sent to me in this little package, and I just stuck some twine through the top. And then I just stuck a little flower on it. And once this dries, the glue will dry clear. Once it dries, there's a word underneath there from the pattern piece. This is what the one that has the pattern piece on it, and it says length on it. The word length is on it, and that's for the pattern instructions that you see on pattern pieces. So that's not focusing very well, but there's that one, and that'll dry clear so you won't see that white. So there's the little Inchies, and that's how I make mine. I just pick things I like and stick it on there and decide what I want to do with them. And this particular thing that I made, I just happened to be in the mood to make an L, and so I just did a little swervy line this way to make the L, and I just lined them up and glued them on, and then glued these on. And that's all I did. That's how I make my Inchies. So I'm not sure if I'll make something with these or not. If I do, I will come back at the end of this video, which is now over, and show you, and put pictures and stuff. But more than likely, I'll just leave them be, and then the next time I need Inchies, I'll have some more Inchies that are done that I can add to my little collection here. Okay, I hope that this helped those of you that had asked me a couple of questions, and that you now have a good idea about how to go about making Inchies. And there's so many videos out there. Go check out other videos. Really, it's just a preference thing. It's what you like, what you want to do. Some people paint on all of theirs. They do all little scenes on theirs, so there's nothing added. Some people just add little dimensional things on there. Some people add words. It just depends on what you like. And I happen to like a lot of different things, so I added a lot of different things. So I'm going to go and probably add some of the the Tim Holtz Distress stains or inks on top of stuff like this here to tone it down since I don't want it bright. But I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to show you. I may not do it now. I may do it when I use them in a project. So I'm just going to leave them like this for now. And it's probably interfering with the ones in the back. There. I'm just going to leave them like this for now until I go to use them in a project, and then I will fix them the way I want them. But that's it. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. I think I've actually decided that I do want to use my Inchies and what I'm going to do with them, but I'm not going to do it in this video. It would take too long and this video would become too long. So I'm going to make another video of what I do with these. So if you're interested in finding out what I do with these, it'll be listed as using my Inchies or something like that, but not sure when it'll go up. But if those of you that wanted to know how I made these and had the questions, want to know how to use your Inchies in another way besides this, which is perfectly great, you know, make a journal page or something, you can see that in the video that I create using these, and that probably will be the next video that I do, and maybe next week, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.